Welcome to the many worlds of Mike and Anthony. I'm Mike.
And I'm Anthony.
How are you doing,
How's
brother?
it going, Mike? Hey, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, you
Great
too.
to chat with you, as always.
As
Looking forward to the
always.
show today. Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to the show
What's
today, man.
you been watching? What you been keeping up with?
Well, as you know, I kind of mentioned it last week. The World Cup's been going on. It's been really awesome lately. I mean, the U.S. is still managing to surprise me, which I don't mean that in a bad way, right? Absolutely, just soccer it's a global sport, and there are some amazing teams out there, crazy, amazing, awesome teams out there, players in general. And the United States we've been competitors, but it's been very, very sparse as far as our abilities to get beyond certain levels. And this has been one of the most impressive. And I've been watching the World Cup, for a while. I played soccer when I was younger, and just watching this World Cup has been so much fun. It's been awesome. So go USA. Their second game that I mentioned last week, they played against the Australians, and they ended up beating them 2-0. And here we are. We're moving on to the next round already. We still have our third game in the group match, and that's tomorrow. So it'll be another fun one to watch. Hopefully they're going to be playing Turkey, and we'll see how they do. But and hopefully they'll get, everybody's healthy and they'll get to play everybody, and it'll just be a fun match to play. But it'll be good. So yeah, I've been just besides work, just watching a lot of soccer. It doesn't matter who's playing. I just love watching, these amazing skilled players on these teams. So yeah, but USA, go USA. Yeah. Tomorrow night,
absolutely.
9:00 Central, I believe. So
have you seen did you know that the new House of the Dragons is out?
I did. I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Dude. Yeah. So season 3, right? That first episode, boy, they rolled right in with a banger, man. I mean, talk about a banger. So
usually the first episode of a Game of Thrones season is setting everything up and politics and, but no, not this time.
No, this one was total action. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved it. I'm stoked to get right back into it. So definitely not as good as the Game of Thrones that we came to know for so many years, which was great. Yeah. But I've really enjoyed having another in the world, or in that mythology.
Right.
So and it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, that episode did not disappoint, and I'm anxious to see what happens now, because as we know, both of the combating queens, or kings, I should say, they've all lost somebody, and now there might be some. When she finds out there's another loss coming, it's not going to be.
Oh
pretty.
Boy, yeah,
I know, that's right. I mean, because she's already upset. This is Veneres, or how do you pronounce her name?
And may I just say that if you've just started riding your dragon, you should watch the movie How to Train Your Dragon before you.
That is true.
To go into battle.
That is so true.
This is my take on it. My hot take.
Hey, that was a great animated series. Still is great animated series, but in the live action one wasn't bad either. I don't know if you got to see the live action one. It was pretty good too. So
I think I watched the first one, but I couldn't tell you what it was about.
Yeah, well,
I assume there's some dragon training going on, and maybe a montage. You're the best around, that kind of thing.
You could have passed for that. Why is that song in so many movies, by the way? Either it's parody.
Because it's become a parody of itself.
I know. It's so, didn't South Park even do that? I think South Park did it too.
Oh yeah. When the boys were training for their softball league, I think.
Yes. So funny.
Yeah.
So Mike,
I enjoy a good training montage. Yeah.
I do too. Mike and I were just chit-chatting about Rick and Morty, and no, we're not going to get into any conversation about Rick and Morty, but I was just telling him how hilarious that cartoon is, and how brilliant the writers are, and from the perspective of how they inject sarcasm and just wildly, if you weren't somebody that was grounded in the arts of and the knowledge of science, it would just go right over your head. You would just think he was just being a smart mouth, just making stuff up, but there's so much sarcasm built into his actual science knowledge. It's just so funny. But it reminded me of when you said, or when we started chatting about South Park and using that song, because they actually have some episodes where they have some pretty good music, built into the episode. So anyways, Rick and Morty, it's great. There's a bunch of HBO just dropped their I think it's the 9th season, which has been out already on Cartoon Network, but HBO gets it several months later to the entire season to stream. So I'm getting ready to jump back into Rick and Morty here pretty soon. I can't wait.
I've seen the odd episode now and again when it's just like on TV or cable, and it looks like something that I would get into if I would just start from the beginning.
You need to. You have
but
to.
It looks like, am I understanding it right that it started off as kind of a Back to the Future parody?
I mean, I guess I could see how people would say that or think that, but I'll be honest, I didn't at all.
Because I get a Marty and Doc vibe from those two.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but it is, if that's the vibe that you get, I guarantee after maybe the first 2 episodes, that will be out the window.
Oh, okay,
because it's an abusive relationship, so to speak.
Okay.
So for the audience, for everybody who's watching, the reason why we got on Rick and Morty and all these other topics is because of the main topic of today's episode, which is,
we're going to talk about directing Batman. We're going to look at the different eras of modern Batman, modern live film Batman, starting with Burton and going up through Reeves, basically. We're not going to hit on any of the tangential stuff like the Catwoman movie with Halle Berry or anything like that.
Or the interesting Joker movie, by the way.
Or the Penguin series or any of that stuff.
Yeah, which Penguin series was awesome too. It was great. And we probably won't talk much at all if we do about any of the animation stuff associated with Batman, because there are so many different variations, iterations of Batman animation out there, and everyone in its own right is great. Of course, me growing up, and I think you as well, Mike, the Batman the animated series is probably the absolute hands down best.
Yes, for sure.
It's most popular for sure, and it's great. It's great. So, but we'll looking forward to this one. This is I'm fond of this. Is a fond topic for me, being not a big DC fan. Not a big, Batman fan either at all, but growing up in the 80s and in the 90s and having Tim Burton just come on the scene in the late 80s, just being, and people love him today. I mean, everything that he does is like when a Tim Burton movie's coming out, it doesn't matter what it is. People are going to go see it. I mean, that's just how it is. So that really is what kind of launched it all for me, as far as Batman was concerned, because I grew up with Marvel stuff, but then that came out and here we are. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I guess I've always been more of a Marvel guy.
Yeah,
just because they have my very most favorite characters. Adam Warlock is my favorite character of all time. Silver Surfer. I like these cosmic, beings, and DC doesn't have as much cool cosmic stuff as that. I know they have the New Gods and stuff, but so I was always more Marvel, and I like the fact that it was more from these are people who have superpowers, rather than kind of the more DC where they're kind of idealistic or they're idealized. But if I put Marvel up here, DC, I still like DC. It's just, of course. I'm not as big into the marquee characters. Like, honestly, I when I was collecting comic books, I wouldn't have collected much on Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman and those as I would some of the more minor ones that I liked more. Well, although I don't know if Flash is minor, I was always a huge Flash fan.
Green Lantern. Green Lantern is my favorite.
Yeah.
If you were going to ask me who my favorite character in DC world is, it's Green Lantern all the way.
Yeah, Green Lantern and Flash were my two favorites, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Flash was cool, but we had fast people in Marvel comics too, right?
Yeah, but they weren't, I mean, Like
I
Flash
know.
is one of the top tier in DC, whereas Marvel, you got the Wizard, and then you've got
Yeah.
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver. Yeah.
And the less we say about the Wizard, the better. But
Another
but
Rick and Morty. Just kidding.
Quicksilver's fine, but he was never like a major
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. Well, I think he was kind of put in the spotlight because of his
His sister,
parents, or his father and his sister, right?
yeah.
So
Wanda
that's, I
has
think,
always been a major character, but
right. And I think that's why he kind
yeah.
of rose into his prominence. Not that he wasn't. I mean, he
Mhm.
was an individual for sure in the comics, from what I understand, but he was definitely, yeah, I don't think he would have been able to be a very good standalone, right?
Yeah, right.
Without
Yeah. Of
Wanda, his sister. So
course, it depends on which era we're talking about because Wanda and others have warped reality so many times that is
I
it
know
Magneto? I don't know at this point. I know
that's
for a
true.
while it was.
That is true. Yeah.
So, but then
Spoiler
things have
alert,
changed.
Magneto's
Yeah,
supposedly the father of the
maybe.
twins.
And spoiler
Yeah.
alert, I need to get a spoiler alert card for our screen. We're spoiling all the Batman movies, starting with
Yeah.
the Tim Burton 1989 one.
Well, let's do it. So yeah, Tim Burton, we're not going to talk about the 1960s Adam West stuff, because there was a TV
Right.
series, obviously, and it was fun. It was goofy. For the times, it was great. We're not going to dive into any of that. And look, another thing that I'm going to say is that there are countless channels out there in the
Yeah.
streaming world that dive into the intricate details of Batman because of their fandom. That's not going to be this broadcast at all. We're going to talk about how Batman makes us feel and that kind of stuff.
And I'm probably going to get a whole bunch of stuff wrong, but hey, I'm having fun doing it. So that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. No, and look, audience, feel free to chime in and correct. We're okay.
Yeah,
I'm totally okay
absolutely.
with that. But
I don't
really,
mind being wrong.
I'm just going to stick to my feelings. That's what I'm
Yeah,
going to do.
me too.
No,
Yeah.
but yeah, so Batman, Tim Burton was just coming on the scenes. Obviously, he was just coming off of Beetlejuice, which still to this day super popular. And lo and behold, guess who he chooses to play Batman? Beetlejuice himself.
Yeah.
And of course, what I loved about Tim Burton, so he did basically the first two Batman movies that are in modern times, modern day. He did Batman and then Batman Returns. And it is true to the form to this day. If you were to go and watch a Tim Burton movie, it's true to the form as it ever could be for a Tim Burton film. It's Tim Burton. It's his amazing backgrounds, his studios, his scenes. I mean, everything. It's modeled. It looks like a lot of it is model based. Think Nightmare Before Christmas. Think Willy Wonka. Those types of things. And really, I mean, even Beetlejuice, even though there was model in Beetlejuice, a lot of the shots that Tim Burton does, it's just incredible. And then of course, you can't have a Tim Burton film for the most part without the music. And Mike, who's the go-to for Tim? Danny Elfman. Yeah, incredible.
I don't know if he is every time, but it seems like it. It's fine with me. I love Danny Elfman.
If he's not, then there must be some reason why he wasn't available to do the score. Yeah. So Danny Elfman really, and that intro, I won't ever forget, previews for movies were awesome when we were younger. I mean, nowadays they're like, man, nobody really wants to watch them. They don't want to spoil the movie. Previews for movies back then in the late 80s, early 90s were just, man, you almost waited in line for whatever movie it was just to watch the preview. You didn't even care what the movie was. They would let you know the preview for XYZ is going to be, there's a rumor that the preview is going to be on this movie. And you're like, I don't even want to see this movie, but I'm going just so I can watch the preview. Whenever that Danny Elfman intro song comes on, you'll know, you know it right away. It's Batman. It's
iconic.
Batman. It's iconic. Yeah.
And I think it's so iconic. The next time and we'll talk about this again much later, but the next time you watch The Batman, the Reeves Pattinson
Robert
movie,
Pattinson,
and it's got that very, very unique score that kind of pulses it's almost like Jaws from John Williams in that way.
Yeah.
and also it's got some almost psycho little strings in the background. But there are times I swear he teases the Danny Elfman
Really?
1989 Batman theme. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again, which I'll have to
Just
do anyways because the second one's coming out at some point in time. So
yeah. I may be dreaming it. I may be crazy, but I swear there are parts where it's like he's alluding to that theme a little bit right here.
well, it's iconic. You have the best word. It's iconic. I mean, that you automatically know when you hear that within the first probably 20 seconds of the sound of the score, that's
Yeah.
Batman. That's Michael
And
Keaton
it just
Batman.
puts you in the mood, doesn't it?
It does. It's just goosebumps, right? It's Michael
Yeah.
Keaton Batman. It's getting ready to start. Sit down, get your popcorn, and the marketing and the advertising for this. I just don't know what it was about. It was the 80s and 90s. It was the decades. It was those two decades that every restaurant had souvenir cups. I mean, Taco Bell it was huge. Taco Bell. I didn't care about the food. I just wanted to go get another cup because I wanted to get them all. I mean, it was just neat how they did all of that.
We grew up in an era where we saw things for the first time. So
yeah,
now you grow up and you see realistic looking dinosaurs and spacecraft and
yes.
and superheroes all the time from the time you're
Right.
born. But imagine going from only seeing the after school Adam West TV show from the 60s,
Yep.
where they would literally, like, if Batman punched the Joker, there'd be a big POW caption that would come up in yellow.
Right.
And it was meant to be, to be fair, it was meant to be campy. It was written that way.
Yes.
Yeah. But nothing looked real in the sense that you felt like this was out of the comic books. And then all of a sudden, Gotham City comes to life, and oh my God, there's the Batmobile, and it's got like a jet in the back, and it's
awesome.
It's insane. Gotham, the whole city of Gotham. Yeah.
And picture that based off of Tim Burton's, the way he does set design. He does a lot of on model scale, and you could totally get that. And when you watch the movies, it does seem like going back and watching him now. Yeah, it might seem a little goofy now. It's like because we're so numb to the CGI and the film of today, the technology of today. But when you go back and you watch that, it's like there were intricate details in there, and it literally, even though it was a darker story, it wasn't meant to be campy or anything like that. There was still humor in it. And we'll talk about that in just a minute, Mike, because I know there was a thread there you wanted to tease. I heard you say it earlier. And the set design, the sets itself, really still felt like he was pulling it from like a comic artist. And, but once again, that is Tim Burton. So
that's his style.
I think, that's his style. So they selected they couldn't have picked a better producer, better director for that. And of course, and by the way, the best Batman, in my opinion, out of all of them. Because Keaton's just a fantastic Batman. He played a fantastic Batman, and he played a decent Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So I think of if I'm choosing my favorite Batman, I think of it in two categories. There's who looks the part,
yes,
the most, and who's the best actor. For me, Keaton slays on the best actor because he can do it all. He can do the gritty Batman. I mean, that's the most iconic line ever.
It is.
And where he can be charming and witty as the socialite Batman. And his delivery, his acting is just amazing. But he doesn't look as much like Bruce Wayne as any of the other ones, really. Especially Pattinson and Bale.
Bale. Yeah. So Pattinson, I don't know. I need to see his next film. I really do. But Bale, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down, he's great. Now, of course, I'm partial because I'm a Christopher Nolan fan.
Me too.
I think Nolan's awesome. I think, we'll chat about his films in just a minute, but yeah, I think that Christian Bale is Batman. Like he plays the part, as you mentioned. His acting is okay. The voice and everything, I know it's give or take a little bit. The voice, the raspy voice that he kind of feels forced a little bit. I don't know if that was meant to be or not, So don't hate me for that comment. I'm uneducated in that area. Just to me, I didn't read it. I've not read anything about it. I just knew that it just felt uncomfortable at times, a lot of times. But Michael Keaton, man, geez, you were engaged the entire time. Yeah, and you couldn't wait to see what was going to happen next, you know?
Yeah. And
So
and another iconic presence in the film
yes.
was somebody who contributed some music, I think, to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Who is that?
He wore a
Mr.
lot of purple. I may be thinking of the Joker.
Mr. Symbol himself. Yeah, Mike brings up another great point. The music not only was about the score, right? So we had Danny Elfman, who's iconic, and he was still probably just kind of up and coming as well, at least associated with Tim Burton. He might have had a history before him, but obviously he probably did because Tim wouldn't have found him. But no, that was another great thing.
Yeah.
It was the times we were living. It was the times we were living in, Mike, that there were pop stars. I probably shouldn't call them pop stars. They were something more deeper than a pop star. But they would be a part of, the popular blockbuster movie of that year or that time. And Prince did a song called Bat Dance, which if you listen to it, it's probably not everybody's, it's goofy. This is sort of, kind of, it's not, but it was on the radio every 30 minutes. I remember that. You just could not escape. It was on the radio every 30 minutes. And it just got to you. It was just an interesting, I mean, they played samples from the movie, Batman saying something, Vicky Vale saying something, and it had Prince's twist on it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he totally, I mean, it was really, really cool. So we got that benefit as well. So not only did we get the advertising and the merchandising and all of that stuff, we had the Tim Burton, aspect of it and the Danny Elfman aspect of it. And then we had it even in our music. They literally did everything, for movies back then. I mean, it was just great. You could expect so much saturation, and it was all good. It wasn't bad. You didn't get tired of it. And all you did was you wanted more. We were like, when's the sequel coming? When's the sequel coming? And then a few years later, Batman Returns. So, but yeah, you did allude to something else earlier. We cannot forget the Joker in the first Batman movie. No. Tim Burton did. You cannot argue how creepy, but how great of a character he played. So good old Jack.
The scene I have there where he fried that guy with that scene has stuck with me probably more than any other scene. Yeah. Maybe only rivaled by Keaton hanging upside down or coming down and saying, and that guy says, "Who are you?" "I'm Batman." I mean,
I'm Batman, right?
This scene is up there with that.
The other thing that I won't forget, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this, but come on, 1988, you have to have watched this by now. I'll never forget the sinister laugh he had. Remember it? 'Cause it was a laughing box.
It was 89, yeah.
Right, 89. Sorry. Apologize. Yeah, it was that laugh is still in my mind right now. You can hear it. From the first time I heard it, it never left. It's very sinister. It's very creepy.
And the things that, if you stop and think about them, that was like when Batman punches him and his teeth come out and start.
Yes.
It's like, so he just had those in there waiting to get punched.
I know. See, but that's what I'm saying. That's where the humor comes in, right? Because this is Batman, right? If you go back and you think of the comics, right? So Batman's origin was Detective Comics. It was number 27, if I'm not mistaken. We're talking back in 1939. It was serious. There wasn't much humor in it, if there was at all. And he was literally a crime fighter helping a detective agency. That's what he was doing. And
he was helping the police, and he was solving mundane crimes like somebody getting not that getting kidnapped's not a terrible thing, but that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And murders, of course. But they were mostly like mobsters and people. I think, if I recall, no, that may have been Superman. It's been a while since I've read the first issues.
Yeah.
But I almost think the first issue he was going after a guy who had cashed some bad checks or something.
Hey, might have been.
I may be totally wrong about that. I probably am, but one of those two, if the first issue was pretty like, really?
But Mike, I mean, for the times, that might have been a big deal, right? I mean, we just got out of the Great Depression, didn't we? I mean, the Great Depression wasn't too long ago from when this comic was made. So if he stole money, by gosh, I mean, think about it. But no, he punches him, and the teeth come out, and then of course the camera pans down to the ground, and it's those little it's the wind up chatter teeth.
Right. Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's funny.
There's just so many gags like that like when his hand comes off, he was just had that extra hand.
Right. And the gun, when he pulls his gun out, and it's this long barrel,
right.
and then the little thing comes out and it says "bang" on it. You know.
Yeah.
It's just, it really was. I mean, he really literally did play the part of a Joker, but he also had, but it is not a Heath Ledger Joker. That one to me is iconic as well. That one's probably my favorite. I'll go ahead and admit that now. That one, because it was just so very disturbing and serious. But, you know,
I'd say
Tim Burton.
Yeah, I mean, I love both versions. I'd say that Heath Ledger's is more like, I think if the Joker really existed, it would be way more like the Heath Ledger version.
I think so too. Too. Because if you think about the who was it Jared Leto that played the Joker? Leto. Sorry, in Suicide
Squad.
Yeah. So you know that Joker to me came out of left field. That was really like this is weird, but he was like modern times disturbing. Heath Ledger to me really embraced the mental illness, you know, that I do believe that they were trying to portray as a part of his character flaw, the what made him who he was. It was abuse, it was neglect, it was dark. It was really, really dark. Leto's was just more of like, he's like, I think he came off more to me like a rebel, like a wild rebel who just like, you know what, I got nothing to lose. I'm just going to be a sarcastic bad guy. Don't care. Ledger was like, there wasn't a drop of sarcasm in Ledger, in my opinion. And his Joker was just like, he was serious all the time.
Wow. Yeah, except when he would do like when he was threatening people over a public announcement, he would put on kind of a Joker laugh and a maniacal kind of thing. But when he wasn't doing that, like when he's sitting at the table with the mobsters, and the guy says, "You're crazy," and he goes, "No, I'm not."
Yeah,
you know,
and like that response was just sinister. You know, and he said you thought, well, he's a shrewd businessman. He's a negotiator. You know, this guy's not dumb. He's intelligent. That should scare you even more.
Well, the opening scene establishes that. Well, we should talk about this in the.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Okay, so
put a pin in that. Yeah.
This is what happens. When Mike and I start talking. So back to the Tim Burton piece. I think they were both good films. They're fun. Go back and watch them. Obviously, they had
Kim Basinger, Vicky Vale in the first one.
She was the love interest. He's got to save the girl, situation. Vicky Vale, obviously, this is Kim Basinger, as Mike mentioned, super popular during the time of the 80s, probably, one of the, top 5 beautiful, women and actresses. Kind of reminds me of a Bond woman type setup. They totally selected her because she's beautiful and was, not that she's not talented. Kim Basinger definitely did some really great films. And so we really got, and she's a great actress. So I'm not gonna argue that point, but she's beautiful. So,
all right. There's a line in there I really loved when I think Joker was watching television, the news, and they were talking about decent people are being terrorized in Gotham, and he says, decent people shouldn't live here. I love that line. But let me say a couple things about the way that Batman is portrayed in the first 2 movies. One thing I really like about it, if we're talking about what makes a great Batman, which is one of our things we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
What makes a great Batman? To me, one of those things is he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective. And in these two movies, he did a lot of detective work.
He did.
Like real detective work.
Yep. He helped.
Which I appreciated that.
Yeah.
So that's a point for Burton, that he's a real detective in this movie. And then, what else makes a great Batman? That's another thing we need to think of. But I love that part of it in this movie.
If you talk to fans of Batman, and I mean the deep fans of Batman out there, their most important, from my takeaway, their most important thing that they want, or factor that they want in a Batman, is they want detective Batman. They want the dark, the gritty, the detective Batman. That's what they want. They don't want some, goofy crime fighter kind of thing. They want the detective Batman.
Yeah. And let me just say that as we go through here, let's also analyze Batman's morals, because sometimes we associate a couple things that probably is more the norm. He doesn't use guns, which he totally did in the early years of his comic book. He carried guns. I'm telling you, go read them. And then that he doesn't kill. Dude, watch the Burton movies. He kills people left and right. I mean, bad guys.
Tossing them out of windows.
See how many people. I mean, he blew up that guy in the sewer. Remember that? Like,
yes, yeah.
People are dropping like flies around.
I don't know if during those times that was something that they were trying to attribute or associate to Batman. If for some reason, when I picked up on the Batman doesn't kill people were the Christian Bale films, to be honest with you.
And maybe that's where it became popularized. Now the gun thing, not using gun, that goes way back to like the 80s. Yeah. But so he's just knocking people, he's sending them down the river left and right. He punched Selina Kyle, the love of his life, off a roof.
That's true. He did in
Batman Returns. From high up, could have killed her easily.
Right. In Batman Returns, right?
Thankfully, she was saved by kitty litter.
Spoiler alert, she becomes Catwoman. Well, we still don't know.
Speaking of the next movie.
Right.
Yeah, so the next movie.
Batman Returns.
Yeah, Selina Kyle.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this before. Those of you who remember the first Wonder Woman movie of the modern era, because there were some TV Wonder Woman movies back in the 70s.
She's amazing.
The Gal Gadot movies. Watch that movie and watch I forgot the name of the woman who becomes the cheetah. But the way that Selina Kyle is at the beginning of this movie, when she's the secretary or administrative assistant, depending on which part of the movie you're listening to, when she's the secretary for what's his name, Christopher Walken.
Right. I was going to say Max. I was going to say Max Zorin.
His name was Shrek.
But that's James Bond.
Yeah, his name was Shrek, something Shrek. And so she's his assistant. She's klutzy. She's kind of a dimwit, ditzy, stereotypical ditzy blonde. And then, and look, I love the first two Burton movies.
Yeah.
I love the first one a lot more. I love this one because it's a joyride.
It is.
But this thing bothers me, and I know, and give me your reasons why I'm wrong about this. But Shrek pushes her out a window,
right?
And everybody's pushing her out of windows in this thing, or off balconies, and she falls and hits and maybe dies. I don't know. And then for some reason, a bunch of cats show up, and then one appears to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation briefly, and then magically she has cat powers.
So my theory
just bugs me. That bugs me.
My theory is she got cat scratch fever. We're gonna go kind of the Spider-Man radioactive spider bite. That's where I'm going. She got scratched by a cat, and then all of a sudden it infected her with special powers.
It's no more silly than any other superhero origin story.
It is pretty goofy, but
including
hey,
Daredevil, who got his powers in the same accident as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right, the ooze, the chemical. That's right. That's very true. Which, oh man,
That's
the
canon.
Ninja Turtles. Oh, you're bringing back such good memories. Ninja Turtles, my goodness.
That's canon.
Yep. But yeah, so she played. It was a good character in the movie, though. Batman Returns was a good movie. The pivotal enemy was the Penguin. Yeah. Oh yeah, good old Danny DeVito, really nailing this character. I mean, you get the Tim Burton vibe here for sure. You definitely get the Tim Burton vibe here for sure. I mean, especially with all of his toys, his vehicles, his little minions were penguins. They legit were penguins, and they took care of everything. I mean, it was awesome. Living in a sewer.
Had a duck boat.
Yep, he had a duck boat. Yeah. So, Copper Pot. Was that his name?
Oswald Copperpot. Cobblepot.
Cobblepot. Yeah. Cobblepot. Sorry. Copperpot was Goonies. Sorry. Right.
Yeah. Cobblepot.
Yeah. So, he was a really good enemy in that movie as well. So we had probably two of the biggest well-known enemies in the Batman series that are most familiar to everybody. Obviously, there's other big enemies, but
we had Shrek.
Right, the wealthy tycoon.
You know what makes him a better villain than most?
Yeah.
Because he puts his pants on one leg at a time, like everybody else. The only difference is when I put my pants, I sound like Bernie Sanders. When I put my pants on, I make gold records.
Baby. Oh man, what a phenomenal actor here. I mean, he's so young here too, by the way. He's so young here too. But he needs more cowbell, Mike.
Can you not love Christopher Walken? He needs
more cowbell.
He steals every scene he's in, basically.
He really does. He's good. He was Mac. I told you he was Max Zorin in James Bond, man.
You know what I found interesting? One of the things about these first two Burton movies is his reliance on public gatherings in Gotham.
Right.
That happens multiple times. There's a big to-do, a public gathering, the villain shows up and starts murdering everybody. If you were a citizen of Gotham, would you show up at a public rally?
No, because you knew something bad was going to happen. And they always had the most elaborate, colorful. Although the background and everything was, it might as well have been in noir. It was black and white, basically. Maybe some darker shades of purple. And then all the props were just these elaborate, massive sized, colorful. Like that's a Jack in the Box right there that she popped out of. Look at everybody else around them besides the Christmas tree. Even though the Christmas tree is very dismal, it's not bright and fancy like a Christmas tree should be. But everything else is black and white. Look at it, all of it. And then they've got this big color. But that is Tim Burton at his finest, in my opinion.
And
things are drab.
Gotham is noir as heck.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And Gotham City, right? It's a fictional city. This is Wayne Manor. It's a fictional city. But it kind of reminds you of like New York or something, right? So
I think it is supposed to kind of be either New York or New Jersey or something. I don't know. So this movie, Batman Returns. Again, we have the return of Danny Elfman. We have a Susie and the Banshee song. If you like, I like Susie. Sorry, not sushi. I must be hungry. If you like Susie and the Banshees, which I do, like Susie Sue, then she has a song, but there wasn't as much pop presence here. No. It's mostly orchestral.
No, Prince knocked it out of the box on the first round. You couldn't compete with it. But that element returns in the next two movies that we got from in the Batman franchise, which are not directly correlated, but kind of.
I don't know. I think they were supposed to be sequels. That's what I get from it.
But let's address why it's tough to make that decision, to really be solid on that decision, because Tim Burton wasn't the director anymore, unfortunately. And I can't remember what Shoemaker.
Can it? Yeah, but before we go to that, could I say something more about these first two movies?
Yeah. Speak away, sir.
All right. So, and I'll try to be brief. here, but let's take the scene. I have this thesis, and I came up with it just through doing screenwriting, which I've been doing for uh, as a hobby for many years, and now we're trying to do it professionally because we're competing now for things and sending things in. But when you're writing a script, in my opinion, you're either writing a comedy or drama, and that seems basic, like duh. But where I'm going with this is that a lot of the things that we think of as dramas or action or adventure are actually written as comedies. So, for instance, the first 4 Batman movies are straight up comedies with superhero action.
There's a lot of action, but they're
so
comical.
Think about Cobblepot. If you're writing scenes so that you're trying to find something funny in every scene, it's a comedy. And think about Cobblepot when he's running for mayor and he's at the public gathering and he's talking about how he's going to be the change people need for Gotham or whatever. And then Bruce has the recording that he did in secret of the Penguin talking about how he hates Gotham and he's going to eat children and stuff or whatever. He's going to kill babies. I remember that. And then Bruce has that on the recording that he's piping out through the audio system or the PA. And right in the middle of it, Bruce does a DJ.
He's a CD though. And if you know what CDs are,
right, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a big 90s thing, CD, compact disc.
That's comedy.
It doesn't make sense to scratch a CD, but once again, though, that's what was so cool because to us, that was one of the first times we were seeing like compact discs. I mean, they were around obviously, but we were still, cassette tapes were still massive in the 80s, there were more cassette tapes. CDs were just coming onto the scene. So to see this, this was the latest technology this being displayed in this movie. It really was. It was the latest. And he was scratching it like a record. It was funny. It was funny.
But there was a lot of almost everything Catwoman says is a joke. I mean, in a good way. I mean, it's funny. In Penguins, he's funny too. Of course, he's Dan DeVito. Like she says, we have something in common, and he said, contempt for the czars of fashion. It's good stuff. I love it when Catwoman starts giving herself a bath.
That is true. And yes,
it's just ridiculous.
I just received a comment from a good friend who's watching. Thank you for watching. Yes, Catwoman did not have powers. That she didn't get powers. So no radioactive spider. So there we go. It was just thrown out the window. She can
suddenly she suddenly has ninja level fighting skills.
But that can be learned.
But there was no training montage. I'm telling you, if there's not a training montage, it doesn't count.
With that song, the best, whatever that song is, the best. Yeah, you got to have that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now I think we're probably going to have a little division here, Mike, and I don't know why. Maybe you can figure it out. But yes, we did get a little bit more as we got into the 90s, and the next 2 Batman films come out. Of course, we didn't know there were going to be 2. There was one that came out, the Val Kilmer one, right, which was Batman Forever.
Batman Forever, 1995.
So as you can see, the suits got an upgrade. It's very
shiny.
We're not Tim Burton anymore. We're very shiny and we're very colorful. Especially Gotham City got a little bit more vibrant in this film. Even though it was dark. I mean, the movies were dark. They were still kind of trying to stay true to the idea, at least to maybe to pay homage to the Tim Burton stuff because they were so successful. But they definitely got a little bit more goofy. I mean, there were a lot of jokes about the suits whenever these new movies came out. And that was the Schumacher, right? The Schumacher films. He was the director of these films. So our next Batman was Val Kilmer. He was okay. I don't think he was terrible.
He kind of came off like a little bit of a jerk as Batman. I mean, as Bruce Wayne.
He was absolutely. He was definitely more arrogant. I thought he was a little bit more cocky. Didn't really care for that piece of him. He wasn't. See, I think the Keaton Bruce Wayne, he was humble. To me, he was very humble. And then then we can get into the Nolan Batman where he was like a humanitarian almost. That's kind of what I felt. Like he was struggling with things with the demons that he was wrestling with, but he was like, he had a humanitarian mentality. He wanted to help, you know, and if he didn't think he could help, he was like, I'm just going to get out of the picture here. I'm not going to, you know. So anyways, sticking to these films. Yeah, they were good. And of course Robin was introduced in this film, right? I don't remember. I don't know if it was the very end or no. It wasn't
he was in it quite a bit.
We got an end credit scene that revealed something else that we'll talk about it when we get to the next film. I know it. I remember now. So yeah, but here's what was so cool about these films that I liked, and I'll tell you why. There were multiple enemies, multiple bad guys in these films. Yeah, so we had more than one enemy, which was really fun, and I love that. So we got
Jim Carrey's the Riddler.
Jim Carrey played the Riddler, but that wasn't good enough. We needed another enemy in this film, right? And wait,
I'm going the wrong way.
There we go.
Tommy.
Two-Face. And then the second thing, so we had these awesome, fun character enemies that were fighting each other at points, but then they joined forces because who is the greater enemy? The Batman. So, but then they also brought back the popular artists
they did
in the music industry at this time.
Yeah.
And two of the biggest ones at that time was Seal, who did Kiss from a Rose, which that song to this day, I absolutely love that song. I loved Seal. I still do. I think his first album is fantastic. And then of course Kiss from a Rose came out, which I think was on a second or third album, but Kiss from a Rose will always take me back to when I was around, 14, 15, 16 years old. And I just remember life at that time. And it was just really good. I don't know why it makes me feel that way. I mean, I was a stalker in a grocery store, a bagger in a grocery store. And that song was always on the radio, and it was on the Muzak system within the store. And it's an amazing song. It's a beautiful song. Seal's voice is amazing. And that song was great. And then another popular group that was, I think, kind of dwindling, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were kind of dwindling as the 90s progressed, was U2. Yeah. And and they did Kiss Me, Thrill Me, Kill Me or something. I don't remember.
Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me.
That's it. Yeah. So, but it's a cool song. But the one that I remember the most about this was definitely Seal and Kiss from a Rose. I mean, it's a beaueful song and it's amazing. And it's even the video's even banging.
I'm more of a Smash It Up, The Offspring fan, but then again, I'm more of a rocker.
The Offspring, they were fun in their own right for sure back in the 90s. But yeah, so that's what I loved about these films. And once again, we still had the big merchandising push on this one too, right? I think Taco Bell, Burger King, I mean, they all had Batman Returns or Batman Forever stuff. It was a big deal. It was massive. It was a massive ordeal. So I enjoyed these films.
Yeah, and we differ a little bit. I think, we're both Gen Xers, but I'm a little bit more on the older end of Gen X, and you're a little bit more on the younger end of it. Yep. So I was a little older when I saw these, and I felt like they just seemed a bit silly to me. Not that I still watch them when I do marathons of Batman, because I'm a completionist.
Yeah, of course you have to.
I mean, you have Bruce Wayne gets to the Batcave the way Wallace and Gromit get dressed, by falling down a chute.
Yeah.
I mean, I just and and I'm going to be honest with you here. In this movie, I was not a big fan of most of the cast. I'll be honest, I did not care for Chris O'Donnell as Robin.
Well, yeah, his acting was immature. He was an immature character too, and it was too babyish for me. So I agree with you on that.
I guess Carrey's fine as Riddler. He's Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's going to Jim Carrey.
He was perfect
in whatever movie you put him in.
And Tommy Lee for Two-Face, even though he's very colorful, not the Two-Face, I thought he was awesome too.
I thought he was fine. My complaint about Two-Face is I thought he should have had more screen time. I think the movie would have
Yeah.
been better if
Yeah.
it had been a little bit more Two-Face centered, honestly.
Yep. I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah, and then Nicole Kidman was fine.
Nicole Kidman. Yeah. The love
I
interest.
guess it's really more Chris O'Donnell, and I'm not a big I like Val Kilmer and other things. He was amazing in The Doors.
Yeah, he did play a good
stuff.
Jim Morrison. He was awesome in what was it, Tombstone? Was it Tombstone?
Yeah, there are movies I absolutely adore him in, but this wasn't
Top
one
Gun.
of them.
Hello, Top Gun.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like,
so yeah, but
look, not the best Batman.
You know,
not the best Batman. He was a popular actor at that time.
Oops.
There's our Selena Kyle again.
We had the only in this movie, we had the only utterance of Robin's famous way of cursing, which is he said,
right.
"Holy rusted metal, Batman!" And
yeah, I
was
know.
like, "What?" It's metal and it's rusted. It's got holes in it.
But there's the comedy, right? There's the comedy.
It's comedy. Yes, it is. This. And if you thought this was comedy, wait till we get to the next one because it's straight up. Straight up. Oh, and I will say something about the Schumacher films. I liked the Batman. I liked the vehicles in it a lot.
The vehicles did get pretty cool. I agree. They evolved for sure. Still a huge Tim Burton Batmobile fan. Awesome. But now then we get into the Uma Thurman, the George Clooney Batman. Of course, O'Donnell's still there as Robin. I still don't feel like he matured at all in.
No, I don't either.
In this,
we have Arnie. We have a lot of villains here. We have Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Yep. We
have Goodry, which if you're not if you're not really into DC Comics, he is Mr. Floronic or the Floronic Man, who's the villain of Swamp Thing. But that's a whole other thing. And then we have Poison Ivy.
Yep.
Played by Uma, right? And then and then the other villain in this movie was R. Kelly.
Right. He was the music artist, right?
Yeah.
Mike is making a tongue-in-cheek joke there, audience. If anybody knows about R. Kelly, very controversial musician, we don't need to go any further because this is a family show.
This is a family show. That's why I said heck earlier.
R. Kelly is definitely not. He's not on the good guy list. So just saying. But yeah, we also got a Bane in this movie too, did we not?
Yes, we did. How could I forget Bane? Where did I put Bane?
It was odd. So once again, another multiple enemies movie, which was cool.
I may have not put a Bane in here.
It's okay. We probably have the Bane in the other one, right? Which is probably a more comic accurate Bane in my opinion.
Look, we can argue, nitpick a little bit about the rest of this stuff. And I mean, I didn't care for O'Donnell, but he wasn't terrible, But
he was
Bane, it was the worst depiction of a comic book character in all of history was Bane in this movie.
That's a strong opinion, Mike.
I mean, Bane is supposed to be a super intelligent guy who was the only guy who ever defeated Batman. And here he's just a muscle. He's muscle.
And he's like dumb. He
grunts and stuff. Just don't get me started on Bane.
I know. I know what you're talking about. I know. But it was interesting. But see, for somebody who doesn't know who Bane was, when he was first introduced in this show, because Christopher Nolan, we didn't have any of that. Even I don't even know if that was even in existence at the time, because this was mid '90s or mid to later '90s. Bane. It was an interesting character. Yeah. He seemed like a pretty formidable bad guy. But of course, Mr. Freeze was Mr. Freeze. He was the big baddie in this one. And so,
also technically, there was an extended universe, technically, because in this movie, Batman says, "This is why Superman works alone." When talking about Robin.
Clooney said that? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he said, "This is why Superman works alone."
Okay.
And at one point, I should have put this picture. Bane was dressed up like a fuzzy pink gorilla.
I think I remember that. Yeah, but once again, that just goes to show you the comedy of these films. And Schumacher, I think, he was probably trying to carry the mantle, but he just didn't. He didn't have the Tim Burton in him. He just didn't.
No, and I think it's just one of those things where I'd be very surprised if he'd ever actually read a Batman comic book. Yeah. Whereas I think probably Christopher Nolan has them all memorized. Um,
something, sometimes we have that in Hollywood, Mike. There's more nepotism in it than there is, merit and talent and all that other good stuff, right? So
yeah. But then
yes,
we move on to
here
the
we
trilogy,
go. Yeah,
the
yeah.
Nolan
So
trilogy.
the Christopher Nolan trilogy, which these right here, man, these were. So we had fun. I had fun as a younger, growing up with all these Batmans. But then, as as a more mature and all of that stuff, if you want to say I matured, when these came out, then we had greater technology, right? We had greater film technology. We had IMAX stuff. We had digital film stuff then, and I mean, Christopher Nolan just went. He went
Yeah,
serious. He went straight up. We got rid of
this
like a
is
lot of the
drama.
comic.
This is not comedy.
This is absolutely
There
drama.
is humor in it, but these are dramas.
It's very dry humor, and it's few and far between. But yes, but once again, Christian Bale donning the suit, was awesome, and he played a very good Bruce Wayne. I'm not going to deny it. I think he was the humanitarian Bruce Wayne. He knew of his wealth, but didn't care about it. He was willing to throw his wealth out the window until he realized he could leverage it for his not, for the ego, the alter ego that he was about to develop. He utilized
Alfred had to drag him to the social events, basically.
Right. And
yeah.
then he
when he went to, he started talking about how everybody was a bunch of phonies.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was doing that on purpose. I mean, all of that. It was he just didn't care. He was like, "You guys are all phony. You're fake." I mean, he literally was sick and tired of the fake, because he was wealthy. He was tired, so I mean, there was kind of a a nose in the air, but not from an arrogant standpoint, but from I'm sick and tired of you all trying to, ride my coattails to be a part of the in crowd and all that stuff. So I'm going to I'm going to pull my arrogant card and just treat you all like what I think you all are,
So he can have anything he wants. He's one of the richest guys in the world, obviously.
Yeah.
He can have any girl he wants, but he really is looking for love. He's always falling in love.
Yeah, he wants to be loved for himself, not because of his money, but everybody that's around him is all about his money. Alfred is one of the only ones that doesn't care,
Yeah. Alfred tells him the way it is, whether he wants to hear it or not.
That's why Alfred's one of the best characters. And of course, Christopher Nolan got probably one of the best Alfreds. Although I can't say that. The Alfred in each one of these Batman films was very pivotal. The choice of the Alfred. I think they're beloved.
I like all the Alfreds. Every one of them I thought were great.
Yes. Yeah. But I did like Christian Bale.
Tells him the way it is too. He's a good friend.
Yes. Fox.
Lucius Fox.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. No, I totally agree with that.
But here we have a change in morals. The moral system changes. The tone sets the standard for all superhero movies for the next 10, 15 years, maybe. We can make superhero movies that seem like they could really happen, like they're real. Yep. And that we're not doing any self-mocking at all. Although I don't think Burton really did that, but this isn't camp. We're being realistic, we're being dark, we're being gritty, and that everybody followed that trend after that until James Gunn started doing things differently. Well, Joss Whedon and James Gunn both were doing their own different things.
Well, we can't stay on we can't stay in the same path all the time, right? We got to stray up. We got to bring something. We got to throw it.
Yeah, it did have a huge influence though. This movie, and we have Hans Zimmer and no pop music at all, or no commercial music.
But you don't need that. I mean, Hans Zimmer is in a class of his own. I mean, Hans Zimmer has done, as we've mentioned, I think before in a previous episode, you name a very successful film, Hans Zimmer most likely has probably done the soundtrack or was on the soundtrack. I know there's others out there, obviously, right? But yeah, Hans Zimmer's done some fantastic stuff. Obviously, a lot of Christopher Nolan stuff. Christopher Nolan he's got him on speed dial saying, "Hey, I got another film coming out. Would you do the soundtrack?" I mean, Hans Zimmer is just fantastic. But yeah, you're right. No, I don't believe there was really any pop. We didn't have the merchandising either. I mean, you had your basic toys, but they were more collectible toys. They weren't really like toys for kids to play with. This was not a toy franchise, in my opinion. This was a
No.
collectible, a collector's item franchise
Yeah.
is what it was. It wasn't anything that was marketed towards kids. It was because it was dark and gritty. It was a Christopher. This was a dramatic turn. It was a dramatic film.
And here's where he acquires his moral stances, at least in the films. He doesn't kill, and he doesn't use guns. In fact, I think it was in Dark Knight Rises, where where in the next film where Catwoman says, that whole gun thing, I think you're more about that than I am.
Right.
I think that's more important to you than it is.
Yes.
Something along those lines. But yeah, he doesn't use, although he does, I noticed he had like a cannon or something on his bat plane.
He did. But I mean, it was only to take out,
like missiles and things.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so
we did have I think a pretty decent story here. We had Ra's al Ghul, who's the mastermind of all enemies, right, from Batman series, if I'm not mistaken.
I'd say he's Batman's arch nemesis, almost to equal Joker.
Right.
I mean, he's probably more important. I don't know, because Joker killed Robin once, so but it's really important.
We also had a more prominent role, correct me if I'm wrong, with Commissioner Gordon, right?
Yeah.
In this film.
I don't think I have any scenes of Gordon. Oh, there's Scarecrow.
There's Scarecrow, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's our
Talia.
Yeah.
Talia al Ghul.
This is the love interest, right? I mean,
this is Talia. Yeah, she was a love interest, but she was playing him the whole time.
Yeah.
In the comic books, they have a real love interest, even though it's kind of a Catwoman thing where she's also his enemy. So he likes the dangerous women, that's for sure.
But Batman Begins really just it put a reset on the franchise, essentially, is what it was. And Christopher Nolan did a masterful job of that. We got the origin story. We got young Bruce Wayne. His parents were spoiler alert, his parents were murdered right in front of him by just a street thug.
Joe Chill.
Right. And, Alfred basically raises him. And as he came of age, he inherited his family's wealth. He was 51% of the company, owner of Wayne Enterprises. And he basically for the years of his younger youth or his younger days, I'd say probably after his teenage years, but maybe his younger mid-20s, he was just kind of a reckless, lazy, and didn't have a purpose or anything like that. Didn't care. He just didn't care about anything. And Alfred kept him. Alfred kind of kept him in line. So, and then the character just evolves from there. It just evolves from there. He gets pushed kind of backed into a corner, I guess. Yeah.
And so, I loved having Qui-Gon back. And so then we go to,
no,
that is from an earlier movie. Yeah. I don't know how Alicia Silverstone ended up down there.
But she's the interesting thing,
that girl.
That's what I was going to say. That's the interesting thing that I wanted to actually talk about just before we did this, Mike. There was an end credit scene, and I believe it was in Batman, not Batman Forever, or maybe it was Batman Forever. It was the end credit scenes of one of those. This is the teaser that they showed. Batgirl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now we're getting far out there. She was a great character, but we're just
they
really
had
getting out there.
Way too many people in that movie because really, Batgirl didn't make any impact to the plot as far as I could tell. Right. Unless I just missed something.
But Christopher Nolan, really set the stage with Batman Begins, right? With Ra's al Ghul and all of that.
And that movie ended with Gordon giving Bruce, Batman, a card that says we have this new killer. I don't remember the exact words, and he leaves these cards.
Yep.
And Batman says, "I'll check it out."
And then that brings us into The Dark Knight, which I think hands down is probably the best Batman movie that's been made. I'm saying that. And I'm not just saying that because I think so either. I think it was masterfully done. I think Nolan knocked it out of the park. And of course, as we all know, Heath Ledger was the one that brought the everything. I mean,
Yeah.
everything to this film. Of course, as we all know, tragically, we lost him after this film. I believe everything was, you know, I don't know if he was completed filming or if they were almost done, but we ended up losing him. He passed away. There's still rumors on how and why he passed away. But this Joker character to this day is still one of the most darkest, disturbed, and just amazing acting jobs I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not a critic. I'm not anything like that, but he is my favorite Joker. Yes.
Yeah, he has to be, I think, for me. But I do love Nicholson. But so when we're talking about, you know, if we were to rank these movies, the first Burton film I love it because it's a really cool Burton Batman film.
It's Burton.
Is it Lawrence of Arabia? No, but no. This is.
This is.
But Nolan made a great movie, regardless of whether it was a Batman movie or not.
I mean, it was a masterpiece. It really was a masterpiece. There was so much, you know, there was so much depth to each character. I mean, Batman's character was really struggling with demons. The Joker obviously was really struggling with demons. Even, you know, Ra's al Ghul was, I mean, he was a sinister character. The scenes that we got in Batman and Batman Begins, I mean, he was a disturbed character. He hated the system. He hated the system. This is what was so interesting. There was a common thread. They all hated the system. Ra's al Ghul hated it, wanted to burn it down. Batman hated it, wanted to burn it down, or not burn it down, wanted to dismantle it. And the Joker hated it and wanted to burn it down. It's like, that's the common thread but yet all of these characters were fighting each other because they all didn't like the version of what was going to be the outcome if they were able to get what they wanted.
Well, you can almost say that was the whole theme of the later Reeves, the Batman, was that the Riddler was like, hey, we're both doing the same thing, dude.
Right. Yeah. Let's join forces.
Here we got Rachel.
Yeah, we had Rachel.
Who is now played by Maggie Gyllenhaal instead of Emily. What was her name? Yeah. Why can't I think of the name of the other actress?
Oh, what's her name? I can't remember either. Tom Cruise's wife.
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not Ra's al Ghul's daughter. That one wasn't. The other one.
No, Rachel was his like childhood friend.
Yes, love
I
interest.
Guess she was his girlfriend for a while or something.
So yeah, but in this
Batman
movie, we
flew in this one, which was cool. He glided.
What's that? Oh yeah,
he glided in this one. I loved that stuff.
Yep. We also got, who else did we get in this film? We got Two-Face. We had Harvey Dent in this, and this one would definitely.
Oh, this was great.
Yeah, this was fantastic. Yeah, this was really a fantastic character creation on Nolan's end for sure.
Yeah, and I really enjoy the fact in this that they made him. He was more Commissioner Gordon's enemy than he was Batman's in this movie.
Yeah, he was a politician. Yeah, he was political, right?
Yeah, and plus he blamed Gordon for everything that happened to his family.
Yeah. Yeah, but this was really a well done movie. I mean, it's a masterpiece in my opinion. And I think so. It's interesting. There's only like a handful of trilogies out there that the second movie was the best. I think everybody knows what the first trilogy is. That the second movie is absolutely the best.
Empire.
The Empire Strikes Back.
And then Wrath of Khan.
I would put this movie. I would put in the second in line in the trilogies. Trilogy sets. The second film was awesome. The Dark Knight is just awesome.
Yeah, I don't think that holds true for Lord of the Rings, but that's a whole other discussion.
Well, I think see that trilogy is in its own because they're all perfect.
yeah, right.
So, there's all three of them are the best movie.
Yeah, it's one long awesome experience.
It is one long awesome experience. Yeah,
but we're not talking about that. Okay, so then we move on. We into the Dark Knight Rises.
Right, which is the crescendo, right?
Yep, yep.
This is the end all be all film, which fantastic film. The action is incredible. We got an introduction of a couple more new enemies in this, and it just was was awesome.
We get the Catwoman back with Anne Hathaway.
So we get our Selena Kyle back. So here's what's interesting. So as I mentioned real quick, Mike, my friend that mentioned about when we were talking about Tim Burton's Selena Kyle. So she mentioned that, Selena was just tired of being pushed around, tired of being kind of, manhandled. You kind of felt the vibe of, like, if you ever watched the series Mad Men, where, back, I guess it was like the 1960s, just the way that men treated women in the office, especially. They were all secretaries, she was just sick and tired of getting disrespected. We kind of have that with this Selena Kyle as well, except to me, it's kind of a little bit more modernized. This Selena Kyle is like, she did things because she was trying to survive.
Yeah.
And she was trying to do good. So once again, she had another one. She hated the system. And so she wanted to burn it down as well. And, just another theme of the Nolan movies.
And she wants to take out bad guys, but she's totally fine with murdering people. Bad guys.
She is. But her drive was, if she doesn't have to kill them, she's going to infiltrate them and rob them, and just rob them blind.
Right, yeah.
And that's basically what she did. So she was a master thief, which, when you think cat burglar, it just kind of goes, so you kind of get that aspect of.
Well, that's what she was in that when she was first introduced in Batman #1.
Exactly.
She didn't even have the cat suit. She was just a cat burglar. Yeah. And I think Bruce Wayne was on a cruise and met her on a cruise, and she was like robbing other rich passengers blind.
Yeah.
And but of course they fell in love and had a big kiss at the end,
happily ever after, right?
So,
happily ever
and then but she's his, I would say, main love interest.
Yes.
In the comics. They get married or almost married at one point. I think they did get married. It's been a while since I read it. And we have Talia al Ghul, which I don't know why I said earlier that she was Talia. That was Rachel.
Yeah.
I just
misspoke.
Rachel.
Yeah. Talia
that's Rachel.
Now, but she becomes very important. She becomes very, very important in this movie. And I didn't realize it until, it got to the end, which was once again, Christopher Nolan. If you ever watch any of his films, the majority of every one of them, there is a twist. And I mean, he's a really good one. And and he leaves them open. He just leaves them hanging open. This twist, he didn't really have to leave open, or there was no reason to leave it open, but man, it was really, really good. It was really good. Had me going the entire movie. So.
Yeah. And the first time I saw it, and he was like punching Bane, Batman was punching Bane and saying, "You wouldn't have given that detonator to just any citizen. Who did you give it to?"
Yeah. And then she steps in.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have Bane.
And a lot of people do not care for this character. And I'm like, why? This character was just, I loved everything about this Bane. I absolutely did. They're like, oh, it's not comic accurate. Who cares? In this case,
I don't know.
Who cares?
I felt it was fun. I read the original Nightfall series when it came out.
Yeah.
Where basically Bane orchestrated all of Batman's greatest villains to fight him nonstop until he was just basically worn out.
He was worn out, and then
broke his back.
Yep.
But I thought this live action version was actually an improvement on the comic version.
See, it was a major improvement from the Batman Forever.
Oh, no comparison.
Batman and Robin, whichever one it was. I get confused.
Can you imagine this guy dressing up in a pink fuzzy gorilla suit?
My gosh, no.
I don't think so.
What was so cool about this Bane, though, is he was wise and he was intelligent, but he was a child. He was always a child. I think that was kind of the biggest theme for me. He wanted love, he wanted affection, and he just couldn't, he just couldn't find it. He couldn't have it. He couldn't get it. And then Ra's al Ghul's daughter, Talia, my bad. She basically, which you don't find this out until, way later in the movie, basically he helped save her, if I'm not mistaken. And she came back, and he was an asset. He became an ally, or she became it to him.
Well, Catwoman was what saved him at the end.
No. I'm not. You're talking about Bane or Batman?
She saved Batman from Bane at the end.
Yes, yeah. I'm talking about she.
Oh, we're talking about different things.
Yeah, whenever Bane, how Bane came to be.
Yeah. You're talking about when he was. Yeah, she helped him.
Yes, they were all trapped in that prison.
Yeah,
and yeah.
Right.
So the one that
sorry, I totally misunderstood.
Okay, the one that Bruce Wayne was sent to, later on in the movie. But long story short, it's a great, definitely watch this movie if you haven't seen it. You got to watch all three in a row. I suggest that. Yes. They independently can stand on their own, hands down, no question. But if you really want to get the full feel of it, you got to watch all three of them together. But this one really had a pretty awesome conclusion, in my opinion, in my estimation. And in this one, Batman he just wanted to stop. He didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah.
And I will say, in this movie, this was definitely, in my opinion, I think that Catwoman injected humor into this movie that had been missing in the other Nolan movies. So we had a return of humor in a way that's very Catwoman-y, even hearkening back to saying similar lines that she did in the Burton film, where she's like, when a gangster says, he was fighting her, he was one of Bane's goons, and he says, do those heels make it tough to walk? And then she kicked him with them and said, I don't know, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
And she's fighting a guy who says, cat got your tongue? Those kind of things that you don't normally associate with Nolan, but Catwoman can kind of get away with it.
But it fit, though. But it really fit with her. I think Hathaway did a great job of playing this character.
Oh, I loved it.
I do.
Yeah,
it just fit. So
no, I thought it was awesome. Yeah. And then
we got to take a little tangent. So we're straying a little bit from the actual Batman standalones, right? And we're getting into
what are you going to do? Because there is not a Batman standalone for the Snyderverse.
Exactly. So introducing Batfleck. Ben Affleck did a stint as Batman, and I would argue it was not a bad portrayal.
I agree. I don't have a problem with Ben Affleck as Batman. The Snyderverse, which I'm not a huge fan of the Snyderverse, I'm just being honest.
Yeah, see, and I kind of am, but that's okay.
But Batman was one of the things I think he got right consistently. And with one or two exceptions, like the very, very famous line at the end where he's about to kill Superman, and Superman says, he's going to kill Martha.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's like, why did you say that name?
Why did you say that? I know. It was, they had that
from a screenwriting standpoint, he does a total 180, and now he is Clark's bestie.
Yeah. That quickly.
I don't understand it. No one can ever make me understand that twist there. But whatever.
But as Mike said, I am a little bit more of a fan of the Snyderverse. I mean, not massive, but one of my favorite Snyder films is the Superman film. It's the Man of Steel. Just hands down my favorite, probably out of all the DC universe movies. That's Snyderverse, especially, is going to be that film. So we got to see that Superman character in this movie. I mean, it was Batman versus Superman. That's what this movie was.
I don't dislike these movies. I don't dislike Dawn of Justice. I don't dislike Justice League. I'm not crazy about the Joss Whedon directed version, but I do I do like the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. The Snyder cut was worth it. Yeah.
I do too.
It's a totally different movie.
I'll say this though. It came at a time where we had really great consistency in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
And
Yeah.
when these movies came out, they seemed very premature. Like they brought them out too fast. A Batman versus Superman was like way too soon.
Yeah.
And second of all, they didn't really build up like the origin stories. Like keep in mind, before we got the Avengers, if I'm not mistaken, we had 2 Iron Man movies already, right?
2 Iron Man movies. Yeah. We had Captain America.
And
We had Thor. We had the Hulk.
yeah, I
2
mean, so
Hulk movies.
we had these origins, but I just don't feel like they did a very thoughtful job of that in the Snyderverse, in the DC universe. And then all of a sudden
No.
we get Ben Affleck comes on the scene as Batman, and it's in Batman versus Superman. And then here we go. So Superman was already there. He was already there, but Batman wasn't. So, and because all we had was Christopher Nolan Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. And they threw every member of the Justice League in there for 5 seconds, except, and then for some reason, Diana shows up at the end. I'm still not sure why.
There's a mission.
I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I legitimately loved the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yes.
I thought that was one of the best superhero movies I'd ever seen.
Chris Pine, right? He was the love.
One of my favorite
actors. Yeah. One of my favorite actors. Besides Matthew McConaughey, he's one of my favorite actors. I like Chris Pratt too. Chris Pine, awesome. Captain Kirk, man. Captain freaking Kirk.
So I mean, I like seeing Wonder Woman, don't get me wrong. It just didn't make any sense.
I don't know. Once again, yeah.
And so, and then we had, I mean, there was Snyder does some really cool cinematography. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Not going to deny that.
But I'm going to say this though. I absolutely hated Jesse Eisner as Lex Luthor.
As Lex Luthor, yeah.
The only way I can make it even not make me want to throw up is if I think about him being Alexander Luthor, who's Lex Luthor's son, which actually he would be a fairly not too far off from an Alexander Luthor. Yeah. But I don't think that's what's happening.
But Lex Luthor being the enemy in this case to me is when I hear Lex Luthor and think of Lex Luthor, I'm in the Superman world. That's where my mind goes. I don't come into, Batman isn't not really a thought in my mind when it comes to Lex Luthor. So I didn't really.
I just don't like Lex Luthor being kind of a tech bro, kind of whiny kind of guy. I mean, no, Lex he's super intelligent.
Sophisticated.
He's sure of himself. He's
very sophisticated.
He stands up tall, and
wealthy.
I don't know. He's wealthy.
Comes from a class.
I mean, I get it. They were trying to modernize him, but it didn't work for me at all. And don't get me wrong. I'll watch this dude in Zombieland all day long.
Oh heck yeah, those are great movies, man. Love those.
I mean, number one rule: cardio.
That's right. I mean, how fun was that? Those movies are fun. I hope they do a third one. Are they going to do a third one? Tell me they're going to do a third one. Double Tap's great, man.
Hope so. I love Zombieland.
I love Woody Harrelson's character. Hands down the best character in those movies.
Yeah.
Awesome. Twinkies, man. Loves those Twinkies.
So I don't have anything against Jesse Eisner per se. No. It's just I didn't think he fit the role of Lex Luthor.
The Now You See Me films were awesome.
Yeah. Whereas I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I really did. I liked, what's his name? Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah.
And I thought Ben Affleck was just fine. He really feels like Batman when he's playing that part.
Yeah. He played he's a fine Bruce Wayne. He wasn't arrogant. Yeah. He kind of reminded me of the Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne as far as how he portrayed himself. So.
And we got kind of more of a tanky kind of Batmobile.
Yeah. Not sure I'm a big fan of that, but they stuck with the big tires, right?
Yeah.
There's our Superman.
There's Henry. He got screwed by DC.
I mean, that's I don't want to get sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to get sad.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I did not like the way he got treated.
I did not either, because he's still a Superman, and there's a ton of people out there that'll say this is the Superman.
Yeah,
Not over Reeves, not over Christopher Reeves. Different time. This is the modern Superman.
I like him fine. I think mainly it was just Lex Luthor that I didn't like in that movie. And then we moved to the Batman,
which I think this is probably one of the most controversial out of all of the Batmans, because once again, it's like, oh, here we go again, another Batman movie where we're reinventing Batman. And yeah, that's what they did here. They reinvented Batman. But I will say about this one, this in particular, this is probably one of, out of all of the films, and really none of them are, this is probably one of the most comic accurate, I would say. Now, I know there's tons of people out there that would laugh me off the stage. Fair enough. Your prerogative. But I think this is probably one of the most comic accurate, because this Batman actually was doing like detective Batman stuff.
He's the first one since Keaton who was actually doing detective work.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And
I mean, real committed to it.
Yeah. There wasn't much going on, though. Keep in mind, in the Keaton movies of detective work, there just wasn't.
I go back and watch it. I will push back on that.
I'm not.
He actually, yeah.
No. That's fair. I'm not saying there wasn't. There was an element, and the element was present. Yeah. This entire film was him.
Well, the whole movie was a detective movie for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. There was, it was all about, and I mean, every scene, it seemed like he was investigating something, breaking in someplace, going someplace where the cops couldn't go, or Gordon and they couldn't go. He was able to go because he's Batman. You know, there were tons of fight scenes, like raw fight scenes. It wasn't comical fight scenes. These were raw fight scenes. He was getting his butt kicked left and right, but he still, was able to, overcome. Yeah. This was gritty. This was really, really gritty. This
looked like real fighting.
It did.
Yeah.
I don't know how to compare this to the Christopher Nolan movies, even though I know there's a stark way to do it. Because Christopher Nolan was very cinematic and dramatic. This one, to me, this was just more dreary. It was just more.
It was supposed to be suspense. It's a suspense detective.
There we go.
Movie.
Thank you. Suspense drama. Whereas the Nolan movies, it wasn't a suspenseful drama, in my opinion. It was just action drama.
And this movie has one of the most distinctive soundtracks I've ever heard. Some people don't like it because it is very monotonous, but it's a pulse, orchestral pulse that goes throughout the movie. And if you pay attention to it, I think you'll see that tempo increases gradually to give you a feeling of acceleration once you get to more of the end set pieces where he is using his grappling hooks and stuff. And then it goes into a more traditional, not completely, but more traditional orchestral score. And we only have a very little bit of pop music in this way of Nirvana's Something in the Way, which plays an important role in the movie of setting the mood. Which again is dreary.
It is. It really is. And look, say what you want to say about Robert Pattinson. I think he played this part well. I wouldn't say, slam dunk Oscar worthy, but I think he played this part well. I know that there were countless people that were like, no. Twilight is not going to be Batman. He just isn't. But if you're a Twilight fan, like I am, at least the first movie, second, third, and all the rest of them, okay. First movie, I thought it was a great movie. I'm a Team Edward, whatever. Sue me.
Twilight, you mean?
Yeah, I like the vampires over the wolves.
I never saw it.
I'll take the vampires any day over the wolves. But I digress. I think he did okay. I'm a Robert Pattinson fan. I think he was awesome, and he was in Tenet, a Christopher Nolan film, and I thought he did awesome in that. And so I like him as an actor. I think he's versatile. He does all kinds of things. He's done romance movies. He's done action films. He's done, really dark dramas like this, suspense dramas. Yeah, So I think he did well. Not my favorite Batman, but I think he did good, and we're going to see him again, and we'll see how he does in this next one.
If you're going for just detective work, by far the best movie if you just like detective movies.
Yep.
In my opinion, and I really like detective movies and spy stuff. I enjoyed very much Kravitz as Catwoman.
Yeah.
I really liked her take on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
she was a rebel. Boy, she was a rebel.
And they had one of the most epic chase scenes in any Batman movie.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yep.
And I loved me some Commissioner Gordon in this movie as well.
Yeah.
And then we've got,
Enigma.
Now I'm going to say something here, which I think we had in this movie. Think about this, Anthony.
Yeah.
In the Carrey movie, when he was the Riddler, and like I said before, Jim Carrey's going to Jim Carrey, and so which I like Jim Carrey, so that's okay.
I do too.
But remember in that movie where Jim Carrey, at the end, we thought that he was going to, was it somebody, I forgot who came to visit, one of the girls, I think, because he said that he was going to reveal the identity of Batman, right?
Yes.
And
I remember this.
And so they're like interviewing him on TV or something, and he says, "I'm Batman."
I know. He just goes crazy. Yeah.
He just goes crazy. And so I think that the Riddler in this movie harkens back to that, because it looks like he draws this out while he's in jail.
Yeah.
When Batman is in there saying, because Batman's standing there and the Riddler says, Bruce Wayne. And he just like strings this thing out for like 5 minutes. And then he was like, Bruce Wayne is the one we need to take down. We got them all except Bruce Wayne. So I think that was a very, very clever and subtle callback to Jim Carrey's going to reveal Batman, also in jail when he was doing it.
I think this Riddler was definitely a little bit more like on the side of the disturbing side, like the mental illness side. Whereas, the Jim Carrey Riddler, that developed, right? He was, once again, he was a very highly intelligent scientist working for a corporation. Right, but he never got any credit. He never got any.
It was like mind control.
Felt invisible, right? Yeah.
Or mind reading.
He invented that mind reading thing, and that's what was so goofy about that movie, where you had to stick it to your forehead, and
he worked for Wayne Enterprises.
Was it Wayne? I don't remember, but he kept getting ignored, right? It's like he wanted credit, for what he was doing, and he just couldn't get it, so it just turned him. He got ticked off, and it turned against him, and then. Yeah, it was Jim Carrey's character was definitely, but he overdid it on the TV signal. I guess it was like television radio waves, right? That were like, and it fried his brain, and he turned into this spazzy Riddler guy. But he became super intelligent, I think, from it is what it was, right? It messed with his mind. But this one to me seemed like it was more of a mental illness type thing. And
he was, like, in my opinion, very clearly a paranoid schizophrenic.
Yeah. So highly intelligent, which makes them, super dangerous, and then playing off of his disorder or his illness or.
It would be a mistake to think that mentally ill people are dumb. And I'm not saying you're saying that, but
no, I agree with you. I thought so. I was going to say however you were classified. No, I totally agree.
I'd say most mentally ill people are highly intelligent.
Well, Rain Man, right? When he first enters on the scene, you portray him as like, oh my gosh, like what's wrong with this guy? And then he turns out to be, he's so intelligent,
Yeah.
But I think that's it, right? I mean, there might be parts of the brain that don't function as we consider holistically a normal, healthy, whatever, coin phrase you have. But there's a part of their brain that is far more developed than a normal, what we say normalized healthy brain or whatever. Take that back to the Heath Ledger Joker. I truly believe that was the same thing with him.
Yeah.
You know, I think the years of abuse and this and that, it warped his mind to where he focused so much and just developed a part of his brain that just made him a sinister mastermind.
Yeah.
But he lost any moral and ethical, and I mean, he just lost all of that. It atrophied, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the difference between somebody like Catwoman and somebody like the Riddler is the Catwoman will not accept collateral innocent damage if she kills the bad guy.
Right.
Whereas the Riddler couldn't care less if a bunch of innocent people get killed. But before we go, I want to leave you with one thought. I got a little theory here, or it's more of a hypothesis, which is at some point when Chris, I think it was actually Jonathan Nolan who wrote most of the script of the. I'd have to go back and look, but his brother Jonathan wrote a lot of that. At some point, he was writing the Batman, those trilogy scripts, right?
Yeah.
And I bet you at some point someone was reading that, like just to give him feedback, and this guy says, "Why so serious?"
Yeah, right. And think about it. That was one of the most pivotal, brilliant lines of Heath Ledger in the movie.
I bet I would be willing to bet money on that. If I ever get to talk to Christopher Nolan, I think somebody said, "Why so serious?" to the script, and then it made it into the script.
It made it in, and it was. No one will ever forget that. I mean, he nailed that. It was scary when he said that.
Yeah, that, and riddle me this, Batman.
Riddle me this. Yeah.
You got some iconic things. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
And I think I've got to get up at 4:00 in the morning. So.
Oh, geez.
I probably better get off of here.
Time for bed. Well, hey. Great. Another great episode. Episode 8, right? I mean, I'm
episode
counting.
8. We're celebrating 2 months.
Yeah.
If anybody's still listening to us after an hour and 30 minutes.
I hope they are, because I definitely have a good time, man, with you, and it's always good to chat with you. And this was a pretty fun topic, and look forward to picking back up next week with something new and fresh. So
absolutely, and we don't know what it is yet, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Mike. Man. Take care, sir. Have a good one, buddy.
You too.